It's the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show, brought to you by Stock Car Steel and Aluminum and SRI Supplies. Here's tonight's Speed 77 Radio Race Chaser Online Crew Chief, Tom Baker.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Thursday night of Motorsports Conversation here on the Performance Motorsports Network. This is the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show, a Speed 77 radio production for PMN. That would be the Performance Motorsports Network. I am Tom Baker, along with Jacob Seelman and Kyle Magda. Kyle Souza hoping to be able to join us shortly here at the round table. We've got a couple of hours of motorsports conversation here for you, and we've got some really cool guests tonight, Jacob. I'm really excited about this show. We are going to be covering a lot of ground tonight.
Yeah, we do get to cover a lot of ground, Tom. I mean, heck, we're going Truck Series racing with Matt Tiff, who just got signed by Busch Motorsports last week. We're going modified racing with Doug Coby, who picked up the Wheel and Modified Tour Championship for the second time last month at Thompson Speedway during the World Series. And we get to go late model racing with Trevor Knowles, Tom, who picked up a big win at the Mason-Dixon Meltdown. So very diverse slate of guests, and obviously all right in our wheelhouse when we're talking short track and touring series racing here on the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show, so I'm excited about it. But I'm a little bit more excited about the fact that, besides the fact that I've got Kyle Magda sitting next to me, Kyle, here in a minute, I know we got some breaking news that we get to talk about too, so that's always fun.
Yeah, I mean, there's just so much great racing going on. And guys, even though the NASCAR season's over with, we still have some great events coming up. We have the Turkey Derby at Wall Speedway, not this weekend, but next weekend. Then the weekend after, we have the Snowball Derby at Five Flags Speedway in Pensacola and V8 Supercars as well.
Did I hear V8 Supercars? I like that. And Tom, hey, V8 Supercars, because, you know, we can talk about anything in a breaking news segment, and I think this qualifies. Marcos Ambrose is back in Australia with Roger Penske and Dick Johnson Racing, and they unveiled his car for the Sydney finale today. He's being sponsored by Xbox. I love it.
How cool is that? I think he said it right a while ago. Xbox just won the internet tonight. I mean, that is the neatest sponsorship ever, and how appropriate is it that it's on an Australian V8 supercar? For some weird reason, that just seems like the perfect place to put an Xbox sponsorship.
Yes, and hey, I'll steal one from our own Joel Sebastianelli on this one because of Xbox's different brands. It works perfectly. If he wins, they can promote Xbox One. If he spins, they can promote Xbox 360. It's a sponsor's dream right here.
Yeah, that's great. Well, and you know, you have to wonder how long it's going to be before we see Xbox somewhere else in the Penske organization. But I think that's wicked cool to see Marcos Ambrose with an Xbox sponsorship. He seems like the kind of a guy who would have a blast playing Xbox. So I think it fits him perfectly. And the other thing that comes to mind with this is that is such a different type of sponsor. It makes you wonder if that won't make some other gaming type products take a look at, because that just was completely out of left field. No one would have expected that. And again, I just think the V8 Supercars series is the perfect place to put that too. And they're going to have a whole lot of fun working with Marcos and with his personality, I think. And it's just the perfect situation there. That's going to be a lot of fun to watch. And I think Marcos is going to be competitive right off the bat in that series, not necessarily at this first race unless they get some test days in, but you know, he's done this for so long. I know the cars are different now, but Marcos is very adaptable, and I just think next year he's going to be in the hunt, chasing Jamie Whincup for a championship there.
Oh, I think it's going to be hugely fun, and I can't wait to hook up to a 60-inch screen and be able to watch the finale from Sydney with that car because it looks wicked. If you haven't seen the picture, there's going to be one before this first break pop up on the Race Chaser Online and Performance Motorsports Network Facebook pages. So be on the lookout here in the next couple minutes for that. But Tom, we had that bit of breaking news, and we also had a bit of breaking news this morning as well that was out of left field, just like
Sure
the Xbox sponsor announcement was. And it revolved around Casey Kane, and it revolved around the fact that Casey has ink on a contract with Hendrick Motorsports for the next 3 years. I did not see this one coming, not even going to lie.
Well, I don't know if this is quite as far out of left field as Xbox on the Ambrose car, but I definitely think that this was a little bit of a surprise, especially a 3-year deal. I mean, I think that so many of us thought that could be the place, the 5 car could be the place where Chase Elliott winds up in 2016 when he's ready to come to Cup full time. And when that deal was announced this morning, I think it just caught us all off guard because, certainly nothing against Casey Kane. It just, when you look at the lineup at Hendrick Motorsports, you're surely not going to replace Junior, and Jimmy Johnson isn't going anywhere fast. And from what I understand, neither is Jeff Gordon. So at the end of the day, I would have to say that, if Chase Elliott's going to come up somewhere to Cup, I don't know where it goes at this point, Jacob. I just don't quite know where he fits, but I'm sure there's a plan that we're just not aware of because not for 1 second do I see Rick Hendrick letting Chase Elliott get away. And I know one thing that I saw a little while ago was that it looks like the Cup races that Chase does run next year, Kenny Francis is actually going to be the crew chief. And if that happens, that's a little more irony because, of course, Kenny's the guy that just got replaced by Keith Rodden with the 5 car for Kane for 2015. So I guess Kenny will be mentoring Chase Elliott in his Cup starts in 2015. That should be interesting.
I think that's great fun, and I think that's going to be real interesting, like you said, Tom, to see how Chase and how Kenny are able to work together in those handful of Cup starts. Kyle, I'll turn to you on this for a minute because there's been some speculation, and you and I have been poring over the rule book all afternoon, that JR Motorsports, that Dale Earnhardt Jr. would take the team to Cup and potentially have that be a landing place for somebody in the 5-driver stable. But with the way the rule's written, as you and I talked about, the only way that would work is if Dale Jr. drives his own stuff. Now, a couple of reports that I saw on the internet a month or so back before the end of the season suggest maybe that's not as far-fetched as we think because Dale wants to finish his career in some form or fashion driving for his own team. So we could see some interesting things happen, but there is this business of another Hendrick farm team, Stuart Haas, that Chase could easily land at.
There's definitely a possibility there. Right now, we really don't know. I mean, Kevin Harvick's not going to leave. Neither is I don't know about Tony Stewart either exactly. And with Danica Patrick and Kurt Busch, we don't know. But yeah, with Kevin Harvick, that will not happen. But yeah, there's always Stuart Haas racing as well. And Jacob, like you and I were talking, the rule that I remember is that when you drive like Dale Jr., when you drive for a 4-car team, you cannot have your own as well. But like I said, we'll figure that out when that happens. So there's just a lot of possibilities. And Jacob, I know you and I were also talking earlier. This kind of reminds me of the Brad Keselowski situation to an extent because running the Nationwide Series with Junior Motorsports and, of course, coming up the Cup, there's no room there for him at Hendrick Motorsports than going to Penske. So I think that's really something you want to consider. But like Tom was saying, I think Rick Hendrick probably has a plan for Chase and hopefully not to let him go like he did with Brad Keselowski.
Well, let me tell you that. Let me tell you the difference between the two scenarios. Brad Keselowski was supposed to be in the 5 car. And then, after Brad Keselowski was supposed to be in the 5 car, Mark Martin ended up in the 5 car. So, at that point, Brad Keselowski was in limbo and ended up going to Penske. Little bit of a different situation there, Jacob, because Penske actually, once he got over to Penske, Hendrick kind of said, well, he's basically on loan or whatever. We're going to let him go and do that, and then we reserve the right to call him back. But, of course, that never happened. In this situation, you've just simply got drivers with contracts that already exist and are already in the cars. I know you and I talked about this earlier, Jacob, and you speculated maybe Tony getting out of the car if he doesn't have a much better season in 15. I don't see that happening. I think this is going to be interesting to watch. I will say one thing that occurred to me earlier is the possibility of Chase ending up either at Ganassi Racing or Richard Childress Racing, who are both Chevrolet teams, with some sort of a cooperative deal from Hendrick. But I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens. We got a whole year to go through yet, but I think everyone agrees that Chase is basically ready for Cup now, guys, and yet he's going to have another whole year in the Xfinity Series now. So, this will bear watching, and it'll be a lot of fun to speculate and see where it goes. I just don't see Jeff Gordon retiring. I really don't. I think he said it's not on his radar right now. If his back holds up, I don't see him giving it up after another year, but we'll see.
Oh, we will see, won't we, Tom? It's going to make the 2015 silly season the most fun one in recent memory, because I think the best part about this silly season was trying to figure out where Carl Edwards was going to land. The problem with that was we basically already knew it from day one. So the fact that there's so many options for Chase, I think, is what's going to make this so much fun to watch when it gets about June, July, August next year, just to see how the dominoes start falling. I do not think he'll end up at RCR. I'll just throw that out there because it's a different technical group, different technical alliance there. I don't see it. I think the Ganassi option would be the one that I would think if they were going to farm him out to somebody, that's where he would end up. But as you said, we'll see, and it's going to be a fun we'll see. I'm looking forward to that. So, gosh, Tom, I mean, we're just getting started here. There's just so much to talk about, and it's getting colder outside, and I'm complaining about that, but that doesn't mean the racing's done yet.
Well, the racing's far from done. I mean, there's still some bigger shows to be run in some of the short track divisions. Of course, you got the Snowball Derby. We'll talk about that a little bit later on coming up here in a matter of a few weeks' time, and that's always an interesting event for a lot of the NASCAR drivers, especially at the Truck Series,
Chase,
Xfinity Series level. Chase, and Kyle Busch and some of the other guys like that, Eric Jones. Yep. So those guys enjoy running that event. So we'll have some conversation about that. But no, there's still some shows left. Kyle Magda going to be going to the Turkey Derby, which is always fun at Wall Stadium. Going to be covering that for us at Race Chaser Online and for this show here, of course, as well. And guys like Jeremy Mayfield going to be participating in that one on the modified side of things. So that should be a lot of fun as well, Kyle.
Yeah, and we actually have a guest on who will be there as well tonight. We have Doug Kobe, the 2014 NASCAR Wheel and Tour Modified Champion as well. So they're right now looking at the entry list. There are so many great names. Timmy Solomito is going to be there. Ryan Preece will be there as well. So and also all the regulars there from Wall Stadium. So there is going to be a stout field come next Saturday.
I think Ryan's driving the 7 what was the 7?
It was the 7 NY.
Now it's the 98, but the Bono Mannion, I think he's driving that car at the Derby, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
Yeah, he's driving the 7 NY car.
That should be a lot of fun. That's a car Ryan's won in and done well in before, and he's, that's kind of home turf for those guys. So that should be a ton of fun. That race is just a tradition on Thanksgiving, and Wall Stadium's just the neatest little racetrack, and so I'm really excited about the coverage from that show, and hopefully. It will be a good weekend and a dry weekend as well. With that being said, we are going to take a break. We are just warming up here on the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show. Lots to talk about. A couple of very special guests on the program tonight as well. So glad that you're all with us. Call 5 of your friends. Tell them to find the Performance Motorsports Network and tune us in. You are listening to the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show on the Performance Motorsports Network.
How would you like to win a brand new Corvette? Larry O's got all the details.
WinYourNewCar.com. Enter America's #1 dream car giveaway contest. At WinYourNewCar.com, complete the puzzle the fastest and win a new Corvette tax-free. Come on, stop dreaming, start driving with WinYourNewCar.com.
You hear that? That's the sound of America's only sports car. That's right, it's a Corvette. But not just any Corvette. It's your Corvette. It's that who cares if there's traffic part of your day. And this can be you when you come to Cooper Corvettes. With 60 years of Corvettes to choose from, there's always a Corvette in your budget. And they'll service any Corvette you bring in. Cooper Corvettes on Route 1 just north of Quantico and Triangle. Call, click, or visit CooperCorvettes.com.
Hi, this is Yen Scott from Summit Point Kart in Summit Point, West Virginia. If you're looking for a real racing experience on a real racetrack, come out to Summit Point Kart this weekend. For as little as $25, you can get your racing career started. New this year, Summit Point Kart offers the RX 250 capable of over 75 miles an hour. We're open every Friday from 5 p.m. till 9 p.m., Saturday from noon till 10 p.m., and Sunday from noon till 9 p.m. For more information, go to our website, summitpointkartwithak.com, or you can call us at 304-725-5270. Summit Point Kart, your East Coast karting center.
In the race of everyday life, it's nice to have the green flag. But drivetrain problems are the pits. A fully remanufactured engine, transmission, or differential from Jasper Engines and Transmissions costs less than a new vehicle and comes with a 3-year, 100,000-mile nationwide transferable warranty. See JasperEngines.com for details and get the green flag in your race of everyday life.
See the boys at Chandler & Sons Automotive, 45977 Old Ox Road in Sterling. Give them a call, 703-437-7300.
Did you know that birthday parties help build confidence in kids?
Yeah. Did you know that giving kids less sugar before bedtime helps them sleep better?
Oh, totally. Did you know that friendly kids have more friends?
Everybody knows that.
Hey, guys, did you know that most people think they're using the right car seat for their kid, but they're not?
I didn't know that.
Parents who really know it all know for sure that their child is in the right car seat at the right age and size. Visit safercar.gov/the right seat to make sure your child is protected. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Packers.
Vikings.
Red State.
Blue State.
We come from different places.
Uptown.
Downtown.
We come to different conclusions.
Half empty.
Half full.
But no matter how different we are, we're all connected, and we can all make a difference. That's why United Way brings people, expertise, and resources together to improve the education, income, and health of our communities, the building blocks for a better life. When we live united, our efforts, magnified by others, add up to real change. Children succeed in school, families gain financial stability, the health of our neighbors improves, and suddenly, so do our communities. But real change won't happen without you.
Live united.
So let's look beyond our differences.
Live united.
One by one, let's make a difference. Let's reach out a hand to one and influence the condition of all.
Live united.
Give, advocate, volunteer. Live United. Sign up today at liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
It's time to catch up on the latest from the New England racing scene on the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show. Here's Tom Baker and Kyle Souza.
Well, actually, Tom Baker and Jacob Seelman and Kyle Magda for the moment. Kyle Souza wanted to join us tonight, but had some issues with power in his area, not able to connect to join us at the round table here on the Performance Motorsports Network. So hopefully we'll be able to get Kyle on before the show is over. But we are going to talk some New England motorsports, though, Jacob. And I have to be honest with you. You know, we've had a lot of series and sanctioning and groups coming together and groups being formed sort of news in the late model and modified ranks in the East Coast lately. And probably one of the biggest, and I almost don't want to say this because I don't want anybody to misunderstand me when I do, but one of the most unlikely pairings, that we expected to see was the Pass Series, Pass North specifically, and the ACT Tour, American Canadian Tour, getting together and forming a partnership for 2015. Now, again, I want to stress it isn't nothing personal here. It just, for so many years, those two butted heads, and now they're actually coming together. And I think, Jacob, this is just awesome. I mean, this is going to do so much for late model racing up in the Northeast in New England. I mean, I just couldn't believe when I read it, but I'm totally excited about it.
Oh, I love it. And, it's funny. I think in the words of Kyle Souza, he said to me a couple days ago, I honestly thought that maybe New England might freeze over before that happened, but it did, and I'm so thrilled that it did. I mean, you talk about some of these races and the fact that the Pass Tour and the ACT Tour are going to be hosting double headers. I mean, when you can get twice the bang for your buck paying for a ticket to go see a race, it makes the fans happy. When you can get a bunch of really, really, really good late model drivers together and potentially have some of them run 2 races on the same day, it's a really, really good thing. And part of this partnership, too, was getting the American Canadian Tour to not schedule a race on Oxford 250 weekend, which has moved to the last weekend in August for 2015 to coincide with the off weekend right before the Sprint Cup Series Southern 500 at Darlington. But that's huge, Tom. And Kyle and I were talking about it, and just naming names off the top of our heads, we probably came up with 40 top shelf guys that now will most likely be at the Oxford 250 for 2015. And more than that, just to be able to get the 2 tours together for everybody up there to run the biggest short track race in New England. Kyle was speculating, and I think he's right. You could see upwards of potentially 80 cars at the Oxford 250 for 2015. And as big as that race has been the last 15, 20 years, I can't even begin to imagine what it's going to be like next year. It's a landmark deal, but it's a fantastic deal for the New England and the Northeast race fans. And I'm glad that the 2 groups finally have gotten together to do this, because it really, in a way, will open up some of the ACT guys to come back and run some of the Pass North races on the weekends that they're available to now. And when you get that many quality guys in the same field, it just produces for better racing. And, at the end of the day, that's what it's all about.
Well, that's exactly right. And hopefully we can get Kyle Souza in on the conversation. I see that he's popped online here, which is great. But this is going to be huge. And you mentioned 80 cars. Back in the day, the 250 had 80 cars, 60, 70, 80 cars. I remember seeing even some of the New England modified guys that would cross over and run in that event. It was always the Oxford 250. I remember reading about it when I was growing up in New York, and you'd read about it in the trade papers, the Gator Racing News, Speedway Scene, some of those. I don't think Ariado was around yet at that time, but you'd read about that race, and it had such mystique about it. And so this really opens the door for that to come back now, because there's no obstacles. There's no competing event. All the drivers are available. All the teams are available. And as you said, these combined shows that they're running, some of these drivers are going to run both races. So it's going to make for one whale of a ticket for the race fans to come and see. And it's going to make for 2 great series. It's going to make both of those series even stronger than they are. And that's really what I'm so excited about. I think it's great that Tom Curley and Tom Mayberry could get together and put the fans and the teams first. And I don't think we see enough of that in the sport anymore. And I think this is going to be a huge deal for New England and the Northeast in the late models. I think this is fantastic, and I can't wait to see how it works out next year.
Oh, I love it. And, you talk about some of the tracks that are going to be hosting doubleheaders for 2015. You look at tracks like an Airborne Park Speedway in New York, which is snowed into their ears right now, or Autodrome Shadir in Quebec, Canada, which is a really, really racy track. Oxford Plains opening their 2015 season with a Pass ACT combination event in April. It's just brilliant, and I think they've picked some of the best tracks to showcase late model racing to do these doubleheaders at, because you just can't ask for any more than this. And like you said, it's putting the fans first, and it's just going to make for what I think is going to be a brilliant 2015 season. I know we've said that a couple of times, but I'm going to say it again. I just feel like there's this big upswing once again in the short track scene, Tom. It just feels like there's momentum all over the place, whether it's the Northeast or the Southeast, or even starting to head west a little bit now. There's just this huge upswing in all these different short track groups for 2015, and it's going to make the product across the country so much better, and make the product and projects for this show just that much better, because of course we're just as entrenched in all this short track stuff as anybody else, and I would argue even more so.
Well, yeah, that's our specialty. I mean, that's what we do here for the most part, is short track on this show, and it's short track pavement, again, for the most part. We do cover some dirt, and actually thought we might have had a scoop with a New York dirt track here for tonight, but we'll have to wait on that. But yeah, it's you're right, especially when it comes to the late models and the modifieds. Really, the East Coast, the Northeast, and the Southeast are poised for huge years going into 2015, and we'll talk to Kyle Souza a little bit more about this Pass ACT situation after the break, because we'll get him in to join us, and but we'll switch gears just for a minute while we have a couple of minutes left for the break, guys. We'll talk a little bit of Southeast news. We talked a little bit about this last week, but we didn't get into great detail. But boy, not only with the Cars Tour announcement of having again a combined show, both under the Cars Tour banner of NASCAR late model stocks and super late models for 2015, but also there are really some interesting things happening with the Coma Unwind Southern Modified Tour for 2015 as well, and some things that aren't able to be announced just yet, but some very interesting wrinkles that Brian Weber is working out, and they've got a big show coming up this weekend at Myrtle Beach as a companion to the Myrtle Beach 400 for the NASCAR late model stock. So Jacob, the Coma Tour for 2015 is expected to be about 10 to 12 races, somewhere in there, and it's just going to be awesome. They're really growing that series.
They are really growing it, and what makes it even better is two of those group of races were actually announced in a past press release just the other day, because the Coma Tour actually working in tandem with PASS, and they're going to be headed to both Concord on Memorial Day weekend, and they're going to be headed to Kingsport, which is a track that I absolutely love. In the Mid-South area. Robert Presley used to work very strongly with that track, brought it back to really some of the glory days, getting the fields back there and just making it a great track for the fans to go and see. I'm excited about it. Kingsport's always put on great fendered racing, and I think it'll be the same for the modifieds just because of the way that track is built with the banking. I think it'll give the launch that allows you to see a lot of side-by-side racing. It's going to be fun. I know the fans will be looking forward to that, Tom, and I'm looking forward to it. I'd love to be able to get up there at some point next year.
Yeah, that should just be great. And it's, like as you said, it just a lot of things happening for the better with some of these regional series, and it just makes, for the most part anyway, I think it'll make the product stronger. I think we might have a little bit of a gluttony of late model stuff going on in the Southeast here next year, but we'll have to see how that works out. But should be definitely a big thing, and we'll have a little bit more on the past ACT deal with Kyle Souza right after the break here. We are going to take a break. You are listening to the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show on the Performance Motorsports Network. Stay with us.
How would you like to win a brand new Corvette? Larry O's got all the details.
In the Pits Media is proud to present its newest partner, WinYourNewCar.com. That's right, you now can enter the #1 American Dream Car Contest giveaway at WinYourNewCar.com. Complete the puzzle the fastest and win a new Corvette tax-free, delivered to your door. Come on, stop dreaming, start driving with WinYourNewCar.com.
Did you know that birthday parties help build confidence in kids?
Yeah. Did you know that giving kids less sugar before bedtime helps them sleep better?
Oh, totally. Did you know that friendly kids have more friends?
Everybody knows that.
Hey, guys, did you know that most people think they're using the right car seat for their kid, but they're not?
I didn't know that.
Parents who really know it all know for sure that their child is in the right car seat at the right age and size. Visit safercar.gov/the right seat to make sure your child is protected. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Hands can do incredible things. They made every sound in this piece of music. But nothing compares to using them to help save a life. If an adult suddenly collapses, call 911, then push hard and fast in the center of their chest until help arrives. It's called Hands-Only CPR, and it's recommended by the American Heart Association. Visit handsonlycpr.org today. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
Car problems? You can trust your local Cotman man. Cotman has a 40-year history as a leader in car repair and making happy, satisfied customers. Whatever's wrong with your car, SUV, or truck, Cotman will check it out free using state-of-the-art diagnostic equipment. Don't take chances with your car. Bring it to Cotman and let your local Cotman man show you why they are America's transmission and total auto care experts. Visit Cotman.com to download money-saving coupons. Cotman. Real service, real fast.
You know that phone call is going to come at the worst possible time, right at the end of the game. Fourth quarter, fourth down, and 1 yard to go. They're piling up, but you can't watch that. You got to get that car off the road. This could have been prevented if you have taken advantage of Cotman's free TransCheck 21. Here's a chance to have us look at your car and head off any problems that could happen that could interrupt that game. Again, it's a free check. Come see us.
See Leonard and the fine folks at Cotman of Manassas, 9113 Mathis Avenue in Manassas. Give them a call at 703-365-7200.
All I wanted to do was just pick up a guitar and sing praise songs.
From IamSecond.com.
Well, when I got to 17, I was playing in after-hours bars, just in a bunch of trouble.
Grammy Award winner Michael W. Smith.
Smoking that first joint and feeling so guilty about it. From there, it was LSD, and your compass sort of just like disappeared. I knew where I belonged. I just couldn't get out. I was very depressed. I went on the floor and just began to shake. And I was just weeping. I was weeping. And I just began to just cry out for God. 12:30 at night, on the linoleum floor of my kitchen, the God of the universe came and wept with me on that floor. I know where my hope lies. It's not being a rock star. I'm a son of the High King of the universe.
Watch Michael's story at IamSecond.com.
Time for more of the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show on PMN. Here's a man who's in great shape. Round is his shape. Give it up for Tom Baker.
Welcome back to the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Report on the Performance Motorsports Network. Tom Baker along with Jacob Seelman and Kyle Magda. Thought we had Kyle Souza, but still having some issues there. We'll see if we can get him in before the end of the show. Jacob, we had a race at Myrtle Beach. We talked about the upcoming weekend here. We'll touch on it a little more before we go off the air tonight, but the double header upcoming between the Coma Southeast Modified Tour and the NASCAR Late Models running the Myrtle Beach 400 this coming weekend. But this past weekend, we had a big race there as well, kind of a prelude sort of thing for the Southeast Limited Late Model Series. And they have two divisions. They have a Challenger division and they have a Pro division. Between the two divisions, they had 72 limited late models at Myrtle Beach this past weekend. Huge turnout and the largest ever in the history of that Myrtle Beach event, which is for the limited late models. It's basically their Daytona.
Yeah, it's basically their Daytona. Everybody comes wanting to win it, and for the guys who ran all three races, they came in wanting to win a championship as well. And Tom, I actually got the chance to go to the second race out of the three for their schedule this year during the North-South Shootout, and it was wild, to say the least. A bunch of cautions late in the race, a bunch of drama, some hurt tempers, some hurt race cars, and when it was done, we had Bradley McCaskill, who went 2 for 2, and then Myrtle Beach happened. We were prepared to basically coronate him the king for 2014, and then crash, boom, hiss. There's a wreck, and McCaskill's out of it, and one of the young guns that actually was one of the very first guests we ever had on this show, way back when it first started, Tom, Ryan Shattuck, comes through, wins the title, and everybody's going, wait, did that really just happen? And it happened, and it was a brilliant drive. He got a top 5 finish out of it, and, you know, for all the trouble that they've had this season, he was one of the guys that left Caraway with hurt tempers after getting dumped on a late race restart and literally having the left side of that car sheared off. For them to repair that car, get him back out, and ultimately come away with the title. Just a brilliant drive, and I was happy to hear about it.
Well, yeah, it was a good run. And again, we talk about this all the time. You have to be in it to win it. You have to be around at the end of these races. And that Myrtle Beach race, for those guys, and of course, I should hasten to clarify that we're talking about the pro class here at the moment. The Myrtle Beach race for the Southeast Limiteds is always an adventure, because with all the cars, they start gosh, I don't even remember how many they started this year. They put 35 to 40 of them on the track. They'll start as many of them as they can, and really the object is to give everybody a shot at it. And it's a big event for those guys. And this year they had some controversy right off the bat, because there were a lot of folks who were, I think, a little bit apprehensive because it had rained before feature time, and they put the track made the call, not the series, but the track made the call to put the cars out there and actually start counting laps. But before they did that, they made sure with the guys that they thought that the track was okay to run, and that's what happened. There were a couple of the drivers that were a little upset about it, but a lot of the reports that you saw on the internet were grossly over-exaggerated about that. However, once the race got going, the reports of the crash, booming, and hissing that you just referred to weren't so over-exaggerated. They had some pretty bad wrecks, frankly, and a lot of bent sheet metal. Really felt bad for some of the guys that were involved. Connor Pyle making his debut in that race, the limited late model, and Connor shortened the front end of the car considerably, got caught up in the wreck. And there were several guys that had that happen. But Ryan Shattuck basically came out of the end of the race with the championship by finishing. That was really the key. Of course, Bradley McCaskill was the odds-on favorite to make it 3 for 3 and win the championship outright by winning all 3 of the series races this year. They had a few rainouts that cut their season shorter than they would have liked, obviously. But Jacob, it was quite the run for Ryan, and good for him. Ryan's a good race car driver, Florida-based racer, done a lot of racing up here in Legends cars, has proven himself, and has run well in the late model. I mean, we know he can race well and get to the front of a field. So congratulations to Ryan on winning the championship, and hopefully we'll be able to get him on maybe in a couple of weeks here. When we come back from Thanksgiving break, we'll try to get Ryan lined up to be on with us and talk with us about that.
Of course, that's exactly what I'm doing while we're talking about this. But, I'm looking at the numbers, Tom. 4 points was the difference. So it wasn't just by finishing. He really did have to work for it there at the end, but 4 points.
Absolutely.
Talk about the slimmest of margin. That's 2 positions on the racetrack. The difference between Shattuck winning a championship and McCaskill coming out on top. And want to give a shout out to Michael Kitchen. He was the one that claimed the Challenger Division championship over Jason Tutterow for 2014. So that'll throw a curtain on the Southeast Limited schedule for 2014, I suppose. And they get to start looking ahead to 2015.
Yeah, and definitely some interesting things being discussed for the 2015 season with the Southeast Limited Late Model Series. Some ideas being bantied about, and I know some different approaches to things being looked at as well. So excited about that, and of course, congratulations. Let's not forget Trent Barnes getting the win in the Challenger race at Myrtle Beach over the weekend, and he beat a pretty stellar field of Challenger cars. And for those of you who are wondering what's the difference between the two series, well, the Challenger series runs on scuff tires, and the Pro Series runs on new tires, and the Pro Series pays much better, but that's by design, of course. And the Challenger Series still pays very respectably for a limited late model series event. I think it's $1,500 to win, I want to say, $3,000 or more for the Pro Series. And so the Southeast Limited Late Model Series, excited about next year, and their series, as you said, is over, and now Myrtle Beach will turn its focus to the Myrtle Beach 400 this weekend, which that's another event that you'll see probably 50 or more cars there, and they will be late model stocks, NASCAR late model stocks, and of course the Coma Unwind Southeast Modified Tour is also there. So you'll probably see upwards of 75 to even maybe pushing 100 cars in the pit area at Myrtle Beach. And one schedule change to announce for this weekend, if you're going to Myrtle Beach, everything's on Saturday now. The forecast for Sunday wasn't good, so they moved everything to Saturday. So Saturday going to be a long day, but they're going to run everything on Saturday, Friday, and Saturday now, and nothing on Sunday at Myrtle Beach. So just be prepared for that.
Yeah, I think how they're going to pull that off is get all the qualifying done on Friday, Tom, and have that all out of the way to run the races themselves on Saturday and get everybody out before the ugly, ugly weather that is supposed to be coming this way hits this way. It's a prestigious event, but we're not looking at some very prestigious weather this weekend. It just does not look very fun.
Friday
as far
Saturday look good, just not Sunday.
Okay,
yeah,
just
in the
not
50s,
Sunday.
Yeah, in the 50s, Friday and Saturday, which is still not quite average for this time of year here, but it's very close. So it should be fine on Friday and Saturday. Just definitely Sunday not looking good at all, and that's why they made the change that they did. So if you are planning on going to Myrtle Beach and taking part in that, or just going to watch it, just note that everything is Friday and Saturday.
Yeah. And we note that, and, it's rare that I say I'm not going to be going to a short track race, but it's a weekend off. I'll be following the 400 from home for a change, Tom, which I'm okay with. After 34 weeks on the road this year, I need a break. And talking about breaks, we've got one here right now, but right after said break, we're going to go modified racing and talk with the big dog on the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour for the second time in 4 years. Doug Coby joins us to talk about his season and a championship with the Smeriglio team in their first season together. That's next here on the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show on the Performance Motorsports Network.
How would you like to win a brand new Corvette? Larry O's got all the details.
Enter America's #1 dream car giveaway contest at winyournewcar.com. That's right, winyournewcar.com. Complete the puzzle the fastest and win a new Corvette tax-free delivered to your door. Come on, stop dreaming and start driving with winyournewcar.com.
You hear that? That's the sound of America's only sports car. That's right, it's a Corvette. But not just any Corvette. It's your Corvette. It's that who cares if there's traffic part of your day. And this can be you when you come to Cooper Corvettes. With 60 years of Corvettes to choose from, there's always a Corvette in your budget. And they'll service any Corvette you bring in. Cooper Corvettes on Route 1 just north of Quantico and Triangle. Call, click, or visit CooperCorvettes.com.
Before a disaster turns your family's world upside down, it's up to you to be ready. Get a kit. Make a plan. Be informed. Learn how at www.ready.gov. Brought to you by the Federal Emergency Management Agency and the Ad Council.
On the air, you may know me as the man about motorsports. Actually, I've been the man about insurance for over 30 years. With one call, I can cover your life, health, auto, home, and business insurance. Recently, I saved a young couple over $500 on their annual car insurance bill. No gimmicks and no green lizard. So if you think your insurer is really your good neighbor who is on your side because he is holding your money in his good hands, think again. Call me, 703-631-8000. I have dozens of insurance companies waiting to give you the protection you need and deserve. It may take more than 15 minutes, but you'll receive sound advice, quality professional service, and an honest opinion. That number again, 703-631-8000. Ask for Larry O.
Did you know that birthday parties help build confidence in kids?
Yeah. Did you know that giving kids less sugar before bedtime helps them sleep better?
Oh, totally. Did you know that friendly kids have more friends?
Everybody knows that.
Hey, guys, did you know that most people think they're using the right car seat for their kid, but they're not?
I didn't know that.
Parents who really know it all know for sure that their child is in the right car seat at the right age and size. Visit safercar.gov/the right seat to make sure your child is protected.
Coming to Tampa Bay, I said we want to win a Super Bowl, and I believe we will.
From IamSecond.com.
We came close, but never really did win that championship.
Former NFL head coach Tony Dungy.
At the end of my 6th year, I was fired, and it was one of the biggest disappointments of my life. Next year, I'm in Indianapolis, get to the playoffs, but get knocked out again. And for the next couple of years, it's the same thing. Everyone is saying Colts are never going to win one. And I did wonder, why didn't it pan out the way I thought it would? But I determined that I had to have Christ first, and that everything else came below that, including my own desires. The next year, that ended up being our year to go to the Super Bowl and win it. And it was a wonderful feeling. Every decision I make, I'm going to make it through the lens of Jesus Christ, and He'd guide us to that ultimate victory.
Watch Tony's story at IamSecond.com.
Now back to Speed 77 Radio, Stock Car Steel, SRI Motorsports Show, and more Thursday night race talk. Here's your host, Tom Baker.
Welcome back to the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Report here on the Performance Motorsports Network. Want to thank all of the folks at Stock Car Steel and Aluminum and SRI Supplies for being our motorsports title partner here on the show each and every week. Of course, you can go to stockcarsteel.com or SRI-supplies.com and check out everything that they have to offer. If you're building a race car, you just need shop supplies, they have got everything you need in order to make that happen. Jacob Seelman and Kyle Magda are with us. And also with us, Jacob is our first special guest of the evening.
Yeah, this is where it gets a little bit fun because we get to start talking about drivers, about their 2000 2014 seasons. And for the guy we've got on the horn right now, his season was an especially fun one because he won a championship. Getting ready to talk now with Doug Coby, who claimed the honors for the second time on the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour. And we'll bring him out of the pits and have him go full throttle with us here on the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show. Doug, first off, glad to have you on here tonight on the Performance Motorsports Network, and want to congratulate you on a brilliant 2014 season. Did you anticipate that this team that you guys put together between you and Mike Spiriglio and the whole group on the 2 crew, that you guys would gel like you did, and I don't want to say roll right to the championship, but you made it look pretty effortless?
Hey guys, first off, thanks for having me on. I definitely appreciate it. I love talking modifieds, and to answer your question, I mean, yeah, that's why we put our team together, was to go out and contend for a championship. And, you know, they certainly had all the ingredients in place, and I just happened to be the last piece of the puzzle for them to wrap it up this year. And, you know, it definitely wasn't easy. It's never easy on our series, but we just tried to stay consistent and tried to contend for wins every week, and, you know, played the whole game of the points will take care of themselves, and it did. So, you know, I'm happy that we won, and our team is really excited to go down to Charlotte in a few weeks here to represent our series as champions.
And obviously the Night of Champions going to be a special one. It's the second time that you'll have been able to have that honor. The first time was with the Wayne Darling 52 team, and you know, we can compare the 2 runs, and we can look at how they were a little bit different, but I'm curious about your opinion. What was different about this championship run for you this year compared to the first one?
Oh, it's a different group of people, so it makes it completely different, but the biggest thing was, I think in 2012 we won 5 races and, you know, kind of hung on there at the end, and I think in 2014 we were strong out of the gate, and we only won 1 race, and we kind of showed that there's more than one ways that you can win a championship. Sometimes you can go out and win 5 or 6 races and wrap it up early and kind of be, you know, out front the whole season, and other times, you know, this was a 4-point race until 3 races to go, you know, so it was a tight race all season. And, you know, I think this year our theme was just not cracking under pressure, and there was a lot of other teams waiting for us to slip up at some point, and you know, we really didn't right until the last race of the season. We had our worst finish of the year. So that was kind of the big difference, was the 5 wins in 2012 versus, you know, the 1 win and then never really finishing out of the top 5 for most of 2014.
Now, obviously, looking at this, Doug, you've had so much success over the last couple of years on the Wheel and Modified Tour, and it's kind of ebbed and flowed in a way. I know the car counts at some tracks were down a little bit this year, but other events were just absolutely top-notch. What do you feel like the tour is headed for 2015? Do you guys feel like the upswing's continuing again, and there's some momentum there for the whole series to continue growing next year?
Yeah, I would say so. I think 2014 was a great season for our series. The Loudon races and the Bristol race were just spectacular shows, and you can't really ask for much more than that. And I think amongst the big 3 fan base, when we do go to Loudon and Bristol, we've got a lot of people who are just showing up just to watch our race. And you know, when I'm, you know, strapping into the car and it's the modifieds only racing at Loudon and you see the stands mostly full, you know, they're there to see us. So I think we have a little bit of momentum, and I think obviously, you know, getting ourselves in front of some new fans, maybe going back to some tracks that we haven't been to in a few years to bring those fans back into the mix. That's obviously the key to grow our series. And, you know, I would love to see a television show like a Thursday Night Thunder type thing. If NASCAR could highlight the regional touring series and include the modifieds, you know, I think that something like that would go a long way towards continuing the momentum. But, you know, top to bottom, I think we have one of the strongest series in the whole country, whether it's NASCAR sanctioned or not. And, you know, we prove that by just showing how difficult it is even for somebody like Ryan Newman to get into top tier equipment. And, you know, I think he's kind of been around a 5th place car and contending for the wins at Bristol and Loudon, but, you know, the local and the regular guys can really do a good job. So certainly the series is difficult, and it's a lot of fun, and that's why we're, you know, going to stay on our game for 2015 and make some equipment changes just to keep ourselves in the mix.
Doug, 2014 racing season's not over just yet for you.
Looks like you're entering the Turkey Derby at Wall Stadium next week. And what are your thoughts going into that race? And what do you look forward to most visiting that track?
Oh, Wall's always been one of my favorite tracks ever since I was a kid and ran over at Little Wall and Quarter Midgets. And, I won my first pole on the modified tour there with Don King's 28 team in 2004. And, finished second in last year's Turkey Derby. We've qualified really well with Ricky Zarnecki's number 20 that I'll be driving. So, I'm excited for it. I love that it's so late in the season. And, it's nice to be racing, almost into December. And, it's hit or miss with the weather down there. Sometimes you're in T-shirts because it's 65, and then sometimes it's the coldest race of the year, obviously, since it's, after Thanksgiving. But it's a really nice way to relax after the tough modified tour season and also running every Friday at Stafford. So just to go down there and have some fun, I'm really looking forward to it. Hopefully we'll have a couple new sponsors on the car. I'm hoping to have Doug Dunleavy sponsor us since he sponsors so many cars. So I'll give him a little plug. And, then we'll hopefully go to Speed Weeks down in New Smyrna in February. So it makes for a really short off season when you can run the Turkey Derby and then go to Florida.
And who are some of the drivers you're going to have to compete with to get that win at Wall Stadium?
The only two drivers you really have to mention are Jimmy Blewett and Matt Hirschman. The wins are going to go through those two. If you're going to win, you got to beat them. And I think Jimmy's going to be driving one of Bono Mannion's cars along with Ryan Preece. So both of them are going to be incredibly strong. And
oh wow,
Matt's obviously the favorite. So we'll take a stab at it. We had a car that could have won last year, and we're going back with the same package, and everybody's really excited. So it's one of my favorite races of the year. It always has been. So hope they get the crowd that they usually get. The place is usually packed. It's crazy. So it should be a lot of fun.
That's just one of those events that's just steeped in tradition, isn't it, Doug? It's the Turkey Derby. Everybody across the country that knows anything about modifieds, that's one of the races that they recognize just by the title of it, the Turkey Derby.
Oh, yeah, it's awesome. I've gone down there as a fan when I didn't have a ride, and I sat in the stands. I spotted for James Savali when he won, I think, back in 2006. So it was a really fun race to be a part of. And, it's one of those races, they count cautions in the first half of the race, the first 62 laps, and then the next 62, because I think it's a 125-lap feature, they don't count cautions. So certainly that changes the complexion of things. There's usually about 14 cautions throughout the course of the race because Wall Stadium's a really tough track. But again, tradition speaks for itself, and, it's certainly a trophy that my team wants to take home to Southwick, Mass, and, it'd be really great for them to come out and get a win.
Absolutely. Now, let's talk a little bit about, you mentioned Speed Weeks. I want to talk about 2015 for a bit. First of all, let's just deal with Speed Weeks specifically. That's another time of the year that I think maybe in more recent years has been a little bit overshadowed almost by the Battle of the Beach. But when I was growing up in the 70s and 80s and even into the 90s, Speed Weeks for the modifieds was just pure insanity. And I think it still is, really. How do you prepare for 8, 9, 10 nights of racing like that? What is the key from a driving standpoint? How do you get through that many consecutive nights of racing, especially when the racing's so tough and rugged the way it always is? You could go through some serious equipment down there.
Yeah, I wish I was the guy to answer your question, but I actually never have raced at Speed Weeks. My first trip to Florida was last year, and that was the first time I ever saw New Smyrna Speedway, and what a facility that is. I mean, what a fast racetrack. But in terms of, preparing for 8 or 9 nights, usually it's nice to have a clip or two on hand for your front clip of your car. Probably a bumper for every race, and a whole lot of rims and, front-end suspension parts, because it just does get crazy from what I hear. And it's definitely calmed down over the past couple of years. I think they got themselves into a little bit of a jam with some of the rules packages that they were letting the modifieds run, and that kind of decreased the car counts over the last 3 or 4 years. And, I did get to go down there last year for my first time. We ran the Richie Evans 100, and, came from the back and finished 5th. So we were really happy, and I think we'll be down there with our new LFR chassis that we're going to be running next year on the tour.
Oh, okay.
We'll definitely be down there running 3 or 4 shows just to get some laps on it. So it's definitely going to be a good little test session for us because New Smyrna is very similar to some of the tracks we race on. It's got a lot of the same characteristics as Thompson, even Bristol to a certain extent. It's just one of those, tracks where you got to catch your breath after, a 30-lap run because you got to try and think about what the heck just happened. It's so fast. So, really looking forward to it. It's going to be a fun time, especially with the new chassis.
Well, it sounds like it, and it sounds like you've got a big year planned for next year with the tour. I know, obviously, you don't do any of this alone, and we always like to get our drivers out on the opportunity to give some shout-outs and some sponsors, team members, whoever you want to give some credit for helping to make it happen for you.
Yeah, well, absolutely. I mean, it starts in our shop with Phil Moran, my crew chief, and Bob and Hoppy, who go there all the time. Timmy Armbruster doing tires, and those guys are pretty much preparing the car all the time. And all my crew guys, Josh, Carlene, Alex, Simon, Timmy, John Romano, and of course my car owner Mike Smerglio. We couldn't do it without him. So we're excited to come back next year. LFR chassis. We're going to do the NASCAR spec engine package. We'll have Dunleavy's Truck and Trailer Repair as a sponsor. Fox Shocks, Draco Springs. Hex Performance. So we're excited. We 1 year in the books, we won a championship, and it's not going to stop here. We're planning on doing this for many years to come, and I hope I get to talk to you guys a whole lot more often as champion again. And I'm just really excited to go again down to Charlotte and represent our series. I love the modifieds. I love the other teams that we race with. They're so competitive, and they bring out the best in everybody. So I'm just really excited to represent everybody as champion and hope I can do it again,
Well, it's been a blast having you on tonight, Doug, and we certainly wish you all the best at the Turkey Derby. Hopefully it'll be a little extra happy Thanksgiving for you, and look forward to definitely talking with you again as we get closer to Speed Weeks and possibly after the Derby if you win it. So congratulations again on a splendid 2014 season. We hope you keep it going. That is Doug Kobe, and we are going to take a break. Of course, we've got another hour of motorsports conversation and more special guests coming up. You are listening to the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show on the Performance Motorsports Network.
How would you like to win a brand new Corvette? Larry O's got all the details.
WinYourNewCar.com. Enter America's #1 dream car giveaway contest. At WinYourNewCar.com, complete the puzzle the fastest and win a new Corvette tax-free. Come on, stop dreaming, start driving with WinYourNewCar.com.
Car problems? You can trust your local Cotman man. Cotman has a 40-year history as a leader in car repair and making happy, satisfied customers. Whatever's wrong with your car, SUV, or truck, Cotman will check it out free using state-of-the-art diagnostic equipment. Don't take chances with your car. Bring it to Cotman and let your local Cotman man show you why they are America's transmission and total auto care experts. Visit Cotman.com to download money-saving coupons. Cotman. Real service, real fast.
You know that phone call is going to come at the worst possible time, right at the end of the game. 4th quarter, 4th down, and 1 yard to go. They're piling up, but you can't watch that. You got to get that car off the road. This could have been prevented if you have taken advantage of Cotman's free TransCheck 21. Here's a chance to have us look at your car and head off any problems that could happen that could interrupt that game. Again, it's a free check. Come see us.
See Leonard and the fine folks at Cotman of Manassas, 9113 Mathis Avenue in Manassas. Give them a call at 703-365-7200.
Media sales professionals with agency experience. If you're frustrated with your current position, unrealistic quotas, and inept management, if you're a sales machine and you simply will not take no as an acceptable reply, if you're looking for a rapidly growing company with unlimited sales potential for commissions in the hundreds of thousands of dollars, if you're searching for a high-tech, forward-looking, laid-back, but extremely professional organization who appreciate your skills and dedication, we have your next opportunity. Scorpion Radio Group is building a sales team of self-starters who are motivated. Your imagination is the only limit here. Call 717-749-0444 or email us at scorpionradiogroup@gmail.com. That's 717-749-0444. 0444 and ask for Sue.
Hi, this is Jens Scott from Summit Point Kart in Summit Point, West Virginia. If you're looking for a real racing experience on a real racetrack, come out to Summit Point Kart this weekend. For as little as $25, you can get your racing career started. New this year, Summit Point Kart offers the RX 250 capable of over 75 miles an hour. We're open every Friday from 5 p.m. till 9 p.m., Saturday from noon till 10 p.m., and Sunday from noon till 9 p.m. For more information, go to our website, summitpointkartwithak.com, or you can call us at 304-725-5270. Summit Point Kart, your East Coast karting center.
For 17 years, Stock Car Steel has been a leading materials supplier to the racing industry. Now they're also an official motorsports content partner of Race Chaser Online. The biggest names in NASCAR trust Stock Car Steel for all their raw materials, such as carbon steel, chrome moly, DOM, aluminum, plastics, and much, much more. You can't build a race car without the basic materials, and Stock Car Steel is the place to get them. Don't forget to also visit Stock Car Steel's sister company, SRI Supplies, for racing and industry. SRI is your #1 source for all your shop supply needs. Nuts, bolts, rivets, tapes, adhesives, cutting tools, chemicals, body shop supplies, paint shop supplies, lubricants, and more. A well-stocked race shop is a winning race shop, and the road to winning begins with 3 letters, SRI. For more information, visit stockcarsteel.com and SRI-supplies.com. You can also find them on Facebook at Stock Car Steel and Aluminum, or call either company toll-free at 1-888-752-7272.
The Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show continues now on the Performance Motorsports Network. And here's your host, Tom Baker.
Thank you. It is the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show on Speed 77 Radio. On the Performance Motorsports Network, actually produced by Speed 77 Radio in conjunction with the Performance Motorsports Network. We'll get it right eventually. Tom Baker along with Jacob Seelman and Kyle Magda. And we've got our second special guest of the night. I'm not even going to waste any more time here. I want to bring this young driver out on to the air with us and talk with him about what he's got going for next year, because Matt Tifft, I have to tell you, I was expecting some big news over the weekend, because it seems like there's always big news coming out of Homestead, and we were in on the Justin Boston situation, but had no idea that you were going to be spending some time with Kyle Busch Motorsports yourself next year in the Camping World Truck Series. But boy, you've got to be psyched. How did that come about?
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely huge. We put it in the works probably around September, October, and just basically it all came together around the Martinsville truck race, and we just wanted to plan for something next year that was going to make sense, and hopefully try to build something that was going to last for the next couple of years moving up through. So definitely huge news, and obviously great equipment to be in.
Well, it certainly is. Can you talk more specifically about how often we're going to see you in the truck, and maybe what races, or have you even gotten that far yet?
Yeah, right now we got it's a 6-race schedule for next year, and hopefully for 2016 we'll get a full schedule together. And right now all we know is it's going to be at a lot of the standalone events. And we're working right now to figure out the rest of the season, probably some other truck races and some ARCA races in there, and possibly some dirt stuff. So we'll see over the next couple of weeks what we're going to be ending up doing, but I'm sure we'll have a big release about that too.
And I know you're looking forward to it, obviously, Matt, and I'm just looking forward to seeing when they get the release done and everything settled, which 6 tracks that we're going to be able to see you at for 2015. Obviously, you were able to hit a bunch of diverse track time for 2014 in the ARCA series, and I kind of want to backtrack for just a second to that, because this wouldn't have been possible without some pretty stellar show-off runs in the ARCA series this year, and you did a lot of work with Ken Schrader and the KSR team for 2014. How much were you able to learn from that group, and how much do you think you'll be able to take from that to apply to this new gig next year?
Oh, it was definitely huge. I think that we definitely improved on the 1.5-mile tracks, and at the June Pocono race there, that they had really good equipment and put me in something that I could really perform well with. So that was definitely huge for building, just skills for the bigger tracks moving up through the other series. So yeah, like you said, we got to work with Ken Schrader, and that was really cool. He gave me a lot of tips about just racecraft and strategy, and especially on the short tracks, just planning for those last 50 laps to save tires and just be smart in the race and stay out of trouble. And so yeah, I mean, a lot of the stuff I learned there is really going to help for the next couple of years. But ultimately with the races we had, even though we didn't get some of the finishes we wanted, it definitely put us higher up on a pecking order for teams for the for next year and for moving on. So it was definitely a confidence booster and a definitely resume booster too, to have those runs like we did.
Yeah, and I think this new deal would be classified as a resume booster as well. And consider you've got this part-time gig with KBM next year, and that's all in addition to the fact that you are working, going to school right now up at UNC Charlotte and balancing that. Talk a little bit about your side of life right now away from the racetrack, because obviously trying to build your resume on that front as well. And I'm sure it's not always easy, and I can attest to it, the whole balancing college with racing world type of thing. It's tough.
Yeah, I've done it since 7th grade, so I guess I've gotten used to it a little bit here. But I know a lot of the other drivers through go-karts and just in some of the late model stuff too. They a lot of them were homeschooled, and I always went to public school, so I've always been balancing it. But now I came down to Charlotte from Cleveland, so going to school for business management, and I know a lot of drivers have gone to school for engineering, but I'm just trying to work the sponsor side of it and try to hope that we can work sponsor relations better with more of a business angle to it. But it can definitely get tough sometimes, but I've luckily been able to schedule my classes so that it doesn't really interrupt too much with the race weekend. So I'm sure it'll get tough over the next couple of years as classes get harder, but for right now we've been able to balance it fairly well.
Matt, you just mentioned you're from Ohio, and you see all the snow that's happening in New York right now. I mean, and I know you posted on Twitter one day that you missed the snow. Would you want to see all that snow in Ohio?
Would I want to see all that snow in Ohio? I don't know. I've never seen that much snow before. I don't really know if I would want to see that or not. If I could get out of it, yeah, I guess.
Yeah, Matt, that's great to hear. But going back to the season, of course the truck starts, and of course with the ARCA starts. From your perspective, what were some of the differences you saw between the ARCA car, the truck, and also the K&N East car that you ran at Loudon?
They definitely have some differences in them. The K&N car, it may look like the ARCA car, but they have a different tire compound with the bias-supply tires, so they drive a little bit more like a late model. They're very forgiving when you slide the car, unlike the ARCA cars and trucks with the radial tires. When you slide it, it definitely punishes you more for it, and they're a little bit underpowered comparatively. So going to an ARCA car, those bodies are a little bit more twisted out on the bigger tracks, and they have more power. And those cars have the tapered spacer, which on the bigger tracks, which the Cup cars will be going to next year. And so, some of the short tracks we run at, we have the full horsepower as a Cup motor, so it's definitely tons of power there. But moving in the trucks, what we've done so far, they're actually a little bit less power than the ARCA cars, but on the mile-and-a-half tracks like Homestead, they just move around so much more in the air just because you got that big sideboard on the right side, and you just really got to manage the aero with those trucks, and that's just so huge to manage that. And that was definitely a big learning experience at Homestead, and glad we got that done. So now that when we step in the KBM truck, we got that experience, and I know what to expect at the start of the race and around other trucks and traffic.
Matt, I think the biggest thing that stuck out to me the last couple of years is you're really a racer's racer. It doesn't matter what you can find to be able to jump in. If it's got four wheels and you think you can be competitive, you'll jump in it. And I have a feeling, we know you've got 6 races right now with KBM, but just knowing you, I know you're not content with racing for 6 weeks and sitting at home the rest of the time. Are you working on some other deals for 2015? Are we going to see you in some other stuff next year that you can talk about yet?
Yeah, that's what we've been trying to figure out ever since we got the KBM deal finished up. So we're trying to work that out right now. It sounds like we may be doing a couple dirt races, which would be cool. I haven't been on dirt in 3 or 4 years. Probably some late model races. We're still trying to work the ARCA and truck side of things, so that's really up in the air right now. But yeah, like you said, I've been in just a little bit of everything now, and actually in a couple of weeks here, I'm going to be in a chump car race. We got I think it's a $500 BMW. We're going to go up to VIR and go have some fun up there. So yeah, it's definitely quite a few cars I've been in. So, but yeah, obviously the ultimate goal is to run, as Schrader likes to say, run as many races as possible for the least amount as possible.
There you go. A Schraderism on a broadcast is always a fun thing. I'm just curious, Matt, really, with as much excitement has been around this whole deal, what's the biggest thing you're looking forward to about next year?
I think for me, it's just being in top-notch equipment. And I think the best chance I've had at winning so far in my career was those mile-and-a-half races with KSR this last year, and I've been with some good teams before, but I think that's the best equipment I've been in, and that's really outperformed the rest of the competition. So now stepping into a truck team that won, what was it, 13 or 14 of the 22 races, it's obviously a dominant team and a dominant equipment setup that they have there. So just being able to step in that type of ride and just being able to prove what I can do, because ultimately with those trucks, it's just it depends what the driver can do, and obviously handling will play a part too, but their baseline setups are pretty fast, and they've proven that for sure.
They have proven that, Matt, and I can just tell you're excited about this. Before we let you go, obviously, sponsors and supporters to thank. You can't do it by yourself, so want to give you a chance to recognize them. Who makes it happen for Matt Tifft?
Yeah, well, obviously this last year we had Federated Auto Parts with Kenny Schrader. They helped us out quite a bit. So that was really cool to work with them and do a lot of hospitality events with them. We had IMC Markets from back home and Proximity Marketing, JLP CPAs, and we had Doc 360 too, which they've been with us for the last couple of years. So definitely appreciate all those guys' support, and we're definitely looking for the next couple of years, trying to find some funding to get up through the next couple series, but definitely excited to see what the future will hold with the ride we got next year, and hopefully with their performance in those races, it'll be able to bring us into a bigger spotlight there. So we'll hopefully get some wins next year and some really strong runs.
And we're looking forward to seeing how the future shakes out for you as well next year, Matt. I always enjoy having you on the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports show, and I'm just glad that we got through an interview where I didn't have to look up 6 or 8 times, because you are one of the taller drivers in the garage area. But appreciate your time, and just looking forward to seeing what the 2015 season holds for you.
Yeah, well, thank you guys for having me on.
We're going to take a break here on the Performance Motorsports Network, and we'll be back with a whole lot more motorsports talk right after this.
How would you like to win a brand new Corvette? Larry O's got all the details.
Enter America's #1 dream car giveaway contest at winyournewcar.com. That's right, winyournewcar.com. Complete the puzzle the fastest and win a new Corvette tax-free, delivered to your door. Come on, stop dreaming and start driving with winyournewcar.com.
We're growing like crazy and need account reps who know their way around agencies, the internet, and social media. Got connections? Or do you know how to get to the decision makers? Are you fearless? We need you. Internet radio, or as we call it, wireless mobile radio, is rapidly becoming the place to be, with almost limitless income potential. So contact us to get involved with the fastest growing professionally produced group of internet radio stations in the world. Your imagination is the only limit here. Call 717-749-0444. That's 717-749-0444. Or you can email us at scorpionradiogroup@gmail.com. You want to ask for Sue.
So you finally arrived at the sweet spot in your life. The kids are raised and gone. You have free time, and it's finally time to do something for you. If you've ever considered owning a Corvette but have been putting it off for years, now is the time to act. Isn't this the time to finally get that Corvette you always wanted and drooled and dreamed over? Well, grab the little lady by the hand and take her to Cooper Corvettes. They're conveniently located on Route 1 just off of I-95 and just north of the Marine Corps base. They have lots of pampered and well-maintained Corvettes in inventory, and if they don't have what you want, they'll find it. From classic Stingrays to modern-day cars, Cooper is your one-stop shop. And speaking of shops, they service what they sell. And even if you didn't buy a Cooper Corvette, they'll service your Corvette anyway. Become part of the Cooper Corvette family. Call them at 703-445-1483. That's 703-445-1483. And on the web at coopercorvettes.com. That's coopercorvettes.com, American pride and countrywide.
You wouldn't trust your taxes to an uncertified accountant, so why trust your vehicle to an uncertified technician? When you have to take your car into the shop, look for the blue and white ASE sign. That ASE blue seal means the shop employs technicians certified by the National Institute for Automotive Service Excellence. ASE certification is proof that technicians have the knowledge and experience to fix your vehicle right the first time. For more information on finding an ASE Blue Seal of Excellence facility, visit the website at www.ase.com.
Hi, this is Carl Edwards here for RAD, the entertainment industry's voice for road safety. You want to make a difference? It's simple. Be responsible. Plan ahead. Designate before you celebrate. Friends don't let friends drive drunk.
Baby, you can drive my car. Yes, I'm gonna be a star.
A public service message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation, RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
Now, back to more with Tom and the Speed 77 radio crew. It's the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show on the Performance Motorsports Network.
Welcome back to the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show. I am Tom Baker along with my cohorts at the round table for tonight, Jacob Seelman and Kyle Souza. Jacob met Tiff, just a super guest, and boy, what an opportunity that young man's got.
Oh, it's a great opportunity, and he's a great kid. Always enjoyed talking to him. We got to talk to him around this time last year for this show and just have a lot of fun with him. Actually, not too far down the road from him at UNCC, but just really enjoyable. And he's, I think, what Kenny Schrader called one of the nice guys who finally got his due with this opportunity from KBM. So just really looking forward to seeing what he can do in that 51 truck next year with Kyle Busch and Daniel Suarez. And I just feel like that's a really potent three-man team to split that truck and contend for the Owners' Championship. I mean, we all know what Kyle Busch can do in a truck, Tom, but to have two young guys get a chance, kind of like Eric Jones did this year and just did admirably in that equipment. I'm really excited to see what the future holds for that whole operation, and really glad that Kyle's opening this up and giving these guys a chance, because it's showcasing what these guys are capable of. And that's what the Truck Series was originally formed to be about, Tom. It was about the short track racer, and we're getting back to that now, and I love it.
Well, yeah, I agree 100%. And it's nice to see guys like Matt getting an opportunity in top equipment, too, because that's going to make a big difference for him. And, of course, not to say that he didn't have that with Kenny Schrader. Driving for Kenny, I'm going to tell you what, I honestly think I would race if Kenny Schrader had the absolute, which he doesn't, but if he had the absolute worst car in the field and it was total junk, I think I'd get in it anyway just to be able to hang out with Schrader for a weekend.
Right? I mean, how much fun is Schrader? I mean, we talk about that all the time. It's brilliant, and he's another guy that we need to get on this Stock Car Steel show, because you think we had fun talking 15 minutes with Matt Tift. I think the last time you talked to Schrader, you took 45 minutes up by yourself.
Yeah, we were. He gave us a segment back when we were in Memphis. He said, "I think I could do a segment." He ended up doing 3. We had such a good time. It was a great time for sure. Speaking of great times, the Past South Series in for some tremendous times in 2015, but they actually had a tremendous time this past weekend in 2014, getting it done at Southern National Motorsports Park with the Mason-Dixon Meltdown, an event which is going to be moving next year over to the Hickory Motor Speedway, which should be quite interesting for that. But Jacob, we're going to be talking with the winner of that event in a little bit, Trevor Knowles. But that race was quite a race. And again, Pass South ending their season, as it were, on a pretty high note there.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, when you have a 15-year-old in the mix for the national championship, just within 4 points of winning it, it's fun. When you've got guys who are barely hanging on to the Pass South championship, as Tyler Church was able to do, and despite a mechanical failure, holds on to that championship, it's fun. And when you have a guy like Chris Bell, who's finished no worse than second in any pass start that he's been in, he won one and has finished second rather in the other two. I mean, it's just, I don't know how you paint a better picture to close the season. I mean, Ben Rowe claiming his third national championship on the Pass Tour. I hated it for Tyler Dipple. He got derailed by a transmission failure, a cracked transmission. How bizarre of a mechanical failure, Tom, is that? You never hear about that. And talked with Tyler earlier in the week, and he said as disappointed as he was when it happened, he never could have dreamed at the start of the season he would be in the position he's in now, and even having the opportunity to contend for a championship like he did. So always looking on the positive, and I'm excited to see what 2015 holds for him as well, because I just think he's moving forward. I mean, you consider the big block modifieds on the dirt, the Pass South and Pass North races when he's running for the national title. It's just a lot of fun. That division is a lot of fun, and 2015 is going to be a lot of fun for them because they've got dates at Kingsport, and hey, get this, they're reopening the half mile at Concord for Pass South. I love it because that event, back when the Mason-Dixon meltdown, or actually take that back, the North-South shootout was at Concord before it moved to Caraway. That was one of the marquee events anywhere in the country. And just to have Pass South back at that racetrack, especially on a weekend as tradition steeped as Memorial Day weekend is, it's going to be great for the series, I think, and great for the racers as well.
Well, I agree totally with everything you just said. And on top of the deal for Pass South at Concord, you're going to have the Coma Unwind Southeast Modified Tour there too, and that's going to be able to watch modifieds and super late models on Memorial Day weekend at Concord on the half mile is just going to be awesome. I mean, that's a great show. But yeah, I'll tell you what, I hated it for Tyler Dipple, and what a good attitude he has about it to be able to say, you know what, as hard as it is, I never even expected to be in the position to contend. So I guess it's a little bit hard to complain when you're coming out of the box so young and so strong on pavement and contending for a national title. It's a little hard to complain when you don't win it, but still had to be tough for him. And you're right, that's an unusual situation. We've seen it's kind of funny because we've seen a lot of shifter issues in the Cup Series, but rarely do you see a cracked transmission in a super late model like that. So that was kind of strange. But as you said, just a phenomenal race there. And anytime you can have a driver like Chris Bell, who's done a handful, everything? I guess, or close to it, of pavement late model. Well, he's done everything too. Yeah, that's true. But anytime you can have a driver like him racing in your series, that's a big draw. But I mean, Pass is just chock full of top-notch racers, and really, really excited about what they got going on for 2015 because when you talk about moving the Mason-Dixon Meltdown to Hickory, which really I think is their best track, when you talk about them going back to Myrtle Beach and racing at the beach in 2015, when you talk about Pass going to Concord and running that show on Memorial Weekend on Friday night at Concord as a part of a doubleheader with the Coma Modified Tour, I mean, that is a really strong schedule. And of course, all the other tracks that they traditionally run at, they're back at as well. So should be it should be a great season upcoming for the Pass South Series. Just really excited to see what they got going. But Ben Rowe winning a national championship, I don't think it's a huge surprise. But boy, it's hard to come south. For the Northern guys, hard to come south and compete against the best of the Pass South Series. Ben Rowe is one of the guys that seems to be able to do it on a pretty consistent basis, but then again, he's been driving late models forever.
Yeah, he has been, but Tom, you forget he actually won a Pass South championship back, I think it was in 2009.
Yep.
That Rowe won the Pass South title. Yep. Yeah. I mean, so Ben he's that versatile. And you talk about guys, I mean, DJ Shaw did it in the Easter Bunny back in April. You and I were there for that. I mean, the Northern guys are getting better with these Southern tracks again. And that just makes it all the more competitive for some of these big races. And, a salute to Tyler Church, who won the Path South title after Colt Tim almost had it, and then a broken axle is what derailed his top 5 effort and ultimately gave Church the title. And Trevor Knowles, who we're going to talk to in a minute, Tom, I am very excited for this interview because this is a young man who has been driving for Coulter Motorsports the last couple of years. They've had everything go wrong, and finally to have this breakthrough win, I couldn't be more excited for that team. And Trevor's just a good little driver, and finally to see him shake that monkey off his back, it's going to be a big thing.
Yeah, no doubt. Looking forward to talking with Trevor. I've been watching him since he was running in the Pro late model series for Pass before he moved up to Supers, and definitely a driver who's come a long way and really gotten comfortable running with the big boys in the Pass series. We're going to talk to him right on the other side of this break. So we'll step aside for just a moment or two, and then when we come back, we will be talking with Pass South winner from this past weekend, Trevor Knowles. You are listening to the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show on the Performance Motorsports Network.
How would you like to win a brand new Corvette? Larry O's got all the details.
WinYourNewCar.com. Enter America's #1 dream car giveaway contest. At WinYourNewCar.com, complete the puzzle the fastest and win a new Corvette tax-free. Come on, stop dreaming, start driving with WinYourNewCar.com.
We're growing like crazy and need account reps who know their way around agencies, the internet, and social media. Got connections? Or do you know how to get to the decision makers? Are you fearless? We need you. Internet radio, or as we call it, wireless mobile radio, is rapidly becoming the place to be with almost limitless income potential. So contact us to get involved with the fastest growing professionally produced group of internet radio stations in the world. Your imagination is the only limit here. Call 717-749-0444. That's 717-749-0444. Or you can email us at scorpionradiogroup@gmail.com. You want to ask for Sue.
You hear that? That's the sound of America's only sports car. That's right. It's a Corvette. But not just any Corvette. It's your Corvette. It's that who cares if there's traffic part of your day. And this can be you when you come to Cooper Corvettes. With 60 years of Corvettes to choose from, there's always a Corvette in your budget. And they'll service any Corvette you bring in. Cooper Corvettes on Route 1 just north of Quantico and Triangle. Call, click, or visit CooperCorvettes.com.
You wouldn't trust your taxes to an uncertified accountant, so why trust your vehicle to an uncertified technician? When you have to take your car into the shop, look for the blue and white ASE sign. That ASE blue seal means the shop employs technicians certified by the National Institute for Automotive Service Excellence. ASE certification is proof that technicians have the knowledge and experience to fix your vehicle right the first time. For more information on finding an ASE Blue Seal of Excellence facility, visit the website at www.ase.com.
My very first movie, it was called British Terabithia, and that was a film that a lot of kids loved.
From IamSecond.com.
It felt very cool in my heart to know that I did something nice.
Actress Bailey Madison.
I don't want it to be about me, I want it to be about God. Even though you have an earth father, he is your father, that you can say to him, God, I'm not feeling too well today. Or if it's just, little things like, I feel homesick, or I need you, Lord. I need to feel happiness in my heart. the most important thing is you have to have hope, you have to have faith. God is with you, and God is with you every step of the way. If you give yourself to God and you say, I'm ready to commit myself to you, you will know that God is watching you. He looks down and he goes, I'm very, very happy with what you just did. My name is Bailey Madison, and I am second.
Here we go with more of the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show on the Performance Motorsports Network.
Welcome back to the show. Tom Baker along with Jacob Seelman and Kyle Magda. About 25 minutes left or so of motorsports conversation here on a Thursday night on the Performance Motorsports Network. And joining us on the program right now, we have Pass South race winner from this past weekend, Trevor Knowles, joining us. Let's get him out of the pits, let him go full throttle with us. Trevor, first of all, welcome to the program.
How's it going, guys? Thanks for having me on.
Well, we're happy to have you on. We appreciate you taking some time to come on and talk to us. Congratulations on a big win, man. It sounded like it was quite a race.
Oh yeah, it was definitely a long race, but really good in the end for us. Came home with a win. First one of the year was definitely a booster for next year for me, and so glad to be able to win the last one of the year, being the biggest one.
Well, yeah, anytime you can get a victory in the Mason-Dixon Meltdown, you're doing pretty well. Talk a little bit about your season, because as we talked about, it seems like you've just it's been just kind of a series of little things here and there that's gotten in the way of really what could have been just a really good performance. You've had some great runs, but just haven't quite always had the results to show for them.
Yeah, we just haven't had many breaks go our way this year. The last 3 races we've had this year wasn't really good for us, tearing the car up the last 2 or 3 races of the year, and just couldn't get the monkey off our back, it seemed like. But we got it turned around this past weekend, and glad that we could do it on the last one.
Well, it's always good to end the season on a high note for sure. Let's back up for just a second. And for those who aren't necessarily familiar with your whole career, talk a little bit about how you ended up with Coulter Motorsports, how that relationship was formed, and just kind of give us a rundown of what your game plan is with them going forward.
Yeah, me and my dad started off racing go-karts when I was little, and we just kind of progressed from there. Then got tired of racing go-karts and having to clean the mud off of them every Sunday, and then just kind of we wanted to do something that involved more of like an asphalt oval racing. So we started racing limited late models in the Southeast Limited Series, and kind of we're racing with past races, and kind of got to talking with Randy, and my dad and him have a lot of things in common, and kind of grew up together around the same area, and just kind of got hooked up with him in Coulter Motorsports 2 years ago, and been racing with them ever since. And then we're planning on running the same series next year back with Coulter, and having Randy Renfro as a crew chief also.
Trevor, I got the chance to talk with you the race before the Mason-Dixon Meltdown when you guys were up at Caraway for the North-South Shootout, and you and I were talking about the fact that, like you said, it just seemed like every little thing had gone wrong for you at some point over the course of this year, and even going back a little bit before that in the past South Series. Was it tough on you at all from a driver's standpoint? Did it start to wear on you a little bit, just coming so close at times and just not being able to get that monkey off your back until this past weekend?
Yeah, it was. I don't know. We just didn't have a really good season. We thought we were going to have a really good season coming off the championship in the past Pro Late Model Series, and I don't know. Just things weren't going our way, and then got down towards the end of the season, a couple of weekends ago at Caraway. Just I don't know. Just unloaded really, really bad. Just couldn't get things figured out on Friday, and coming back on Saturday, we thought we had the right motor plan going with the crate motor, but qualifying wasn't really good for us, and just struggled all day Saturday in practice, and really didn't have a good race. We thought we were, and got into a little bump up there at the end, put us out, and just really I just couldn't feel like we win one. And then I knew we were going to win. At least we were going to have a really good chance at winning Kenley last weekend. And crew chief Randy Renfro had some really good some good gains on the car from Caraway, and really just put the car in the right place for me last weekend as a driver, and really fit my driving style as far as Kenley goes and how banked it is. And we had a really good car last weekend, and we came home with the win.
How tough was that battle in the final laps between you and Chris Bell? I mean, we talk about all the time how versatile of a little race car driver he is, and both of you were younger guys just trying to make make your mark in this sport. What was that like from your seat in the closing laps, and to come away with the victory against somebody who's done what he's done this year? How special was that?
Yes, seeing him at Orange County really surprised us with him being in the KBM car, and he really surprised everybody in the Pass Series winning his first race, and they went to Caraway, and he had a really good chance of winning to the closing laps, and didn't come away with the win and finish second. And then I knew it would really be a defender to defend with at the end of the race, and it came down to me and him and a late restart, and I felt like we got the better of him on that.
You definitely got the better of him on that restart, and you come away with this, and obviously not just your first Pass South win, but arguably the biggest win you've had in your career. How special is this one, being your first Pass South win with Coulter, and for you as a driver too? What's one like the Mason-Dixon meltdown to have that now on your resume? What's that mean to you?
Yeah, it's definitely the biggest race of my career, and the biggest win I can say. And we've had some pretty big ones coming up through racing and go-karts and late models, and we definitely ranked this one up the highest. And getting the Kota Motorsports crew the first victory in their Pass Series is definitely big to me, and definitely big to my family looking at it now. And we're really just glad to be with Kota Motorsports, and glad that they can give me the opportunity to do what I do and to do what everybody does at Kota Motorsports. And so glad to win the last race of the year for them, and hopefully let's move things a little forward and go on to next year.
Like Tom said, it gives you a lot of momentum heading into the off season, and being able to carry that all the way through the winter to 2015. Where does this take you for next year? Obviously, you said you're going to be back doing the Pass South schedule with Coulter again, but what does this do for you guys now that you guys know not only can you win one, but you have won one?
Yeah, it definitely gives us a really good booster going through the winter, and just looking back at the whole year and us struggling 50% of the time, we can say, and really just capping off the end of the year with the big win, and this really gives us a good boost for next year, and hopefully I'm going on next year and winning a few more if we can. Just glad to win the last one of the year. Just can't thank everybody enough for all the moral support all year.
Well, I know that you told us a minute or two ago that you were going to be basically running the same program next year for Coulter Motorsports. I'm curious because obviously in the last week or so, we heard the announcement that the Cars Pro Cup Series was going to go away, and the Cars Tour, it has now been officially born, and as such, they are going to be running a late model stock series, but also a super late model series, basically 10 race events with both series running at each event. So I'm curious what your thought is about that, first of all, and second of all, do you plan to, or are you even considering the possibility of doing some of the Cars shows in addition to your schedule with Pass South?
Oh yeah, definitely. We won't rule anything out as far as racing and where we go as far as series. We've liked the past series the last 2 years, and we think it's a really good series as far as car count and the rules and stuff like that. But yeah, for sure, I think we could definitely venture off and do some car series. I know some of our past helpers and friends have worked with X1R Pro Cup Series, and we definitely would definitely consider racing with the cars, feed racing next year mixed in.
Well, it definitely sounds like you're going to have your hands full next year for sure. And I was curious what you thought about that whole idea of the Cars Tour, because it seems like it could go one of two ways. It seems like it could either be a really good addition, or it might split the field a little bit. So hopefully there won't be any conflicting shows, because that way, again, all the available cars can go and run either series if they would like to, without having any conflicts or being forced to choose. That was a really kind of an eyebrow-raising thing when I saw that they added the super late model portion to that. So, Trevor, I know that you can't do any of this alone, obviously, and I know Coulter Motorsports has been a huge help for you, but talk about other sponsors and people who have been instrumental in helping to make it happen for you.
Yeah, first off, I want to thank my parents, Doug and Jennifer at Knowles Cabinets. They really got me where I am today, and just can't thank them enough for all they do for me as far as racing and as far as being parents to me. And just can't thank Military Missions in Action also this year. They come on board with us and helped us get where we are too, and just raising money for all the wounded veterans coming across seas, and they've been a big help to me this year too. And just want to thank Worth Wood Group. They've really also been a big help to me this year, and just can't thank them three enough. They're the biggest helpers so far, and hopefully get a few more also.
Well, again, congratulations on a fantastic win. What a way to end the season, knocking down the Mason-Dixon meltdown at Southern National Motorsports Park. Definitely high fives all around to you for that, and hopefully that will allow you to carry that momentum into the start of next season as well. You're a heck of a young driver and really didn't certainly haven't deserved the bad luck that you've had, but as you said, it seemed like the last few races of the year you started to turn the corner and capped it off the right way. So again, congratulations, Trevor. Thanks for being on the program. Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family, and to all of the Coulter Motorsports folks as well. With that, we are going to take another break, and when we come back, we will have our final segment here on the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show. You are listening to the Performance Motorsports Network.
How would you like to win a brand new Corvette? Larry O's got all the details.
In the Pits Media is proud to present its newest partner, WinYourNewCar.com. That's right, you now can enter the #1 American Dream Car Contest giveaway at WinYourNewCar.com. Complete the puzzle the fastest and win a new Corvette tax-free, delivered to your door. Come on, stop dreaming, start driving with WinYourNewCar.com.
Car problems? You can trust your local Cotman man. Cotman has a 40-year history as a leader in car repair and making happy, satisfied customers. Whatever's wrong with your car, SUV, or truck, Cotman will check it out free using state-of-the-art diagnostic equipment. Don't take chances with your car. Bring it to Cotman and let your local Cotman man show you why they are America's transmission and total auto care experts. Visit Cotman.com to download money-saving coupons. Cotman. Real service, real fast.
You know that phone call is going to come at the worst possible time, right at the end of the game. Fourth quarter, fourth down, and 1 yard to go. They're piling up, but you can't watch that. You got to get that car off the road. This could have been prevented if you have taken advantage of Cotman's free TransCheck 21. Here's a chance to have us look at your car and head off any problems that could happen that could interrupt that game. Again, it's a free check. Come see us.
See Leonard and fine folks at Cotman of Manassas, 9113 Mathis Avenue in Manassas. Give them a call at 703-365-7200.
Before a disaster turns your family's world upside down, it's up to you to be ready. Get a kit, make a plan, be informed. Learn how at www.ready.gov. Brought to you by the Federal Emergency Management Agency and the Ad Council.
If you're a gearhead, you probably go online to those hot rod superstores, drooling over the chrome and speed goodies until you find just the right item for your muscle car, tuner car, or truck. But what do you do when it comes to fixing the mom mobile? If you're like most do-it-yourselfers, you head to the strip mall parts store and talk to the "Do you want fries with that?" kid behind the counter. Hold on, Bunky. Did you stop to think where those chain stores are getting the parts that you're installing in the vehicle that's used to transport your family everywhere? They get the cheapest suppliers they can find to sell you the parts at bargain prices. Their limited lifetime warranties? What a joke. Remember the last time Mom's car broke down? You heard about that one for weeks. Don't take that chance again. Excelsior Racing has the quality parts you need for your family vehicle. Parts that you can install knowing you're getting the best for your family. Excelsior Racing. Quality parts, personalized service, affordable pricing, fast to you direct. Excelsior Racing. Online at excelsiorracing.com or call 502-909-2034.
Hi everybody, this is Getty Lee for RAD. To many of us, drunk driving is something that other people do. Certainly not one of our friends or relatives would do such a thing. When you see someone who's had too much to drink, about to get into a car, urge them to give up the keys and find alternate transportation. Always choose a designated driver. Remember, music lives, you should too.
A public service message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation, RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
And now, back to the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show with Speed 77 Radio's most follically challenged host, Tom Baker.
And it's going to just continue to get worse as we go. One of these days, we'll be doing a liner that just calls me cue ball. Tom Baker with you, along with Jacob Seelman, Kyle Magda, and a big shout out to Cougar behind the glass tonight doing the production work for us. Always happy to have Cougar on board. Glad to have him on board. First show out of the box for him with us here on the Performance Motorsports Network, and definitely happy to have him aboard. We appreciate it very much. And well, Jacob, we've talked about just about every late model and super late model race that has taken place in the last couple of weeks. We've got one more coming up in the next couple of weeks that's really the grand finale. We mentioned it at the top of the show. The Snowball Derby down at the Five Flags Speedway in Florida, coming up in just a couple of weeks' time. And I hadn't had a chance today to look at the entry list to see where it had gotten to, and you just about knocked me right off my chair. 115 cars between the Snowflake and the Snowball entry list. That's unbelievable.
Let me clarify, because that number's actually gone up from the last time I looked at it. 138 cars between the two entry lists. I love it. 72 entries for the Snowflake 100, 66 right now, and rising for the Snowball Derby. It doesn't get any better than this. 300 laps at Five Flags Speedway, 150 miles. It's the 47th running of the great race. Comes up in 2 weekends' time, December 4th through the 7th, and I love it. I mean, when you put together an entry list, especially for the Derby, that has names like Corey LaJoie, who's debuting the new LFR late model chassis, Augie Grill, Harrison Burton, Spencer Davis, Spencer Gallagher, Anderson Bowen, Ross Kenseth has filed an entry in the last week or so. Just Eric Jones driving Kyle Busch's late model. Jones, the two-time defending winner of the Snowball Derby. He's looking to go 3 in a row. Casey Roderick, John Hunter Nemechek, Mason Mingus, Chase Elliott filed an entry fresh off the Nationwide Series Championship. J.J. Haley, Daniel Hemrick, Ben Kennedy. You don't get an entry list quite like this at any other short track race in the country. And Kyle Magda, I will say this right now. I don't think this is going to be Eric Jones's party for a third straight year. I think there are a ton of names and even some surprises on this entry list that could surprise a lot of people. I mean, we talked to Daniel Hemrick a week or so ago now on this show, and he's been so close to winning this race about 4 different times, and the cards just haven't fallen his way. I like the 98's chances going into this 47th annual Derby weekend.
Yeah, it's a lot like a Talladega NASCAR race. It's a wild card right now. Just so many entries on this list. You just look at it. There's Chris Fontaine, running in the Truck Series. So Johnny Van Dorn, Ty Majeski, Travis Braden, some of those drivers, even J.J. Haley, Jacob, as well. So just so many drivers on the list. Maybe even Grant Finger too, competitor in the ARCA Series. So, and Kyle Grissom as well, Steve's son as well. Just so many names on that list. Like, I'm almost speechless. I mean, there are just so many great names on that list, and it's going to be a tough field to make come on the weekend of December 5th. And there's just so many things and drivers for both races, and, some drivers doing double duty as well. And I think we're going to see another fantastic show come 2014.
Oh, I think so. And I mean, Tom, you look at that, they start to roughly 40 cars every year for the Derby. I mean, you consider that is more than 20 cars, potentially as many as 25, 26 cars that aren't even going to make the race. And I probably named off 15 or 20 that have a shot to win. That's just what this race is.
See, that's the whole thing and I don't think that we're done yet with the entries. I mean, you're going to get at least probably... I'm going to say you're going to get at least a 10 to 15% walk up, which means I would expect that if we've got 66 or 67 supers right now for the Derby, I would expect that you would end up somewhere around probably 75, and then you figure the pros for the Snowflake. If you're over 70, you're going to hit close to 80. There's always some that file at the last minute or just show up, but. I mean, the depth of the field, and you're right. You named about a dozen or 15 or so that all of these drivers that you named are either champions in the division or the race winners, or they could be race winners. And, it's the depth in the division. It's almost, you just to make the race is prestigious in and of itself. If you can qualify for the race, that's the first step. And then you've got to finish it, and then you have a shot at winning it. And it's just one of those races where you always see some surprises. You always, of course, the wrecks, mechanical issues, whatever. It's about tires, because Five Flags is tough on tires. So it's just really this is going to be a fantastic race. We're going to have more coverage when we won't be on next Thursday due to the Thanksgiving holiday, but we'll have more coverage of it coming up in a couple of weeks, Jacob. And it's just going to be, this is amazing.
It is amazing. And I'll tell you what else is amazing. Breaking news to end the show. I love this. I've got one for you, and we won't get long to talk about it, but I'm going to try and line this up for our show after Thanksgiving. The announcement coming out a couple hours ago that Andy Seiss and fellow modified driver Brian Dowsett are teaming up, and they're forming what's going to be known as Andy Seiss Motorsports. And where are they going to compete, you may ask? Well, they're going ARCA racing. They're working on building 2 super speedway cars for next month's open test at Daytona.
Wow.
Tom, this is huge news. I'm going to see if we can't talk to Andy in a couple of weeks to get more information about it, but I'm psyched. This is great news for that series, and great news from a couple of racers who just love to race.
Yeah, I guess. Well, I guess when he joked about, well, I guess I won, the championship. Now he said he's going to take me cup racing. I guess we weren't far off.
Well, no, we weren't far off. I guess we're going ARCA racing. Hey, that's a close second or third or whatever number you want to call it. I'm excited. I love it for Andy. We're going to try to follow up on that here in the coming weeks. Of course, as Tom mentioned, next Thursday we will not be on here on the Performance Motorsports Network for Thanksgiving holiday. I think all three of us will be stuffing our faces with turkey and pie. And Tom, you're never late for dinner. I mean, you know all about that.
I try not to be, but of course I'll be in Mississippi next week to announce the 24th annual O'Reilly Auto Parts National Indoor Kart Championship, the largest indoor go-kart dirt track race in the country on next Friday and Saturday. I'll be down there all week, actually. So looking forward to that. And we're expecting about 700 or so entries, and should be a lot of fun. So yeah, I usually do get a turkey dinner, but it's usually about 9 o'clock at night before we get to eat it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. But you'll have fun out there. I mean, you always love doing the dirt go-kart race out there. It's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to hearing stories about it. But with that, I think it's basically time to throw the checkered flag on tonight's Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports show. And it's been fun here at the round table with my cohorts, Tom Baker, Kyle Magda. Of course, a special thanks to our partners at Stock Car Steel and Aluminum and SRI Supplies for helping us to make this show possible. And for more information on them, visit stockcarsteel.com or sri-supplies.com for all your shop supply and scrap metal needs. And thanks to our guests tonight, Matt Tiff, Trevor Knowles, Doug Kobe. We'll be back here on the air in 2 weeks' time at 7 p.m. Eastern on the Performance Motorsports Network for the next round of the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show. Until then, Jacob Seelman for Speed 77 Radio, inviting you to head to racechaseronline.com, our online partner, for the latest news, views, and driver interviews on the web. We've got interviews and news coming out every day on the website, and you can check us out at www.racechaseronline.com. And 2 weeks, we'll be back on the air right here on the Performance Motorsports Network. Until then, keep it off the wall, and we'll see you at the racetrack. Have a safe holiday weekend, everybody, and holiday week upcoming. Good night.
You've been listening to the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show on the Performance Motorsports Network. Tonight's show is brought to you by Stock Car Steel and Aluminum and SRI Supplies. For all of your racing needs, visit stockcarsteel.com and SRI-supplies.com. Keep up with the latest motorsports news every day on Race Chaser Online. The Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show is a copyrighted production of the Performance Motorsports Network. www.performancemotorsportsnetwork.com, a member of the Scorpion Radio Group, Inc., and may not be rebroadcast, replicated, or saved in any media without the explicit written permission of PMN. Check out our Facebook page or our section on the PMN website. The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host, co-hosts, and guests, and do not necessarily reflect those of the management and ownership of either the Performance Motorsports Network or Scorpion Radio Group Incorporated, the advertisers, or the marketing partners. Be listening again next week for more great motorsports programming right here on the Performance Motorsports Network.